What's up, everybody? My name is JJ Perez, and I am the writer and director of Beneath.
My name is Sarah Calderon, and I'm the production assistant and lead makeup artist.
And my name is Sarah Hill, and I'm also one of the production assistants.
And welcome to the technical commentary of Beneath. So this is where we talk about all the crazy happenings that happened during the making of this film. And believe me, there's a lot of them. Right, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Many.
Yes. So, starting off with this intro scene, this was the very last thing that we filmed. This was the 23rd night, and it was weird because it was a totally different cast from all the other 22 days. So it was like making a totally different movie. I think Sarah C, you were the only one there.
That
right?
was probably one of the coolest nights, just because we were able to light up the whole press room with a ton of candles.
Yes, this candlelight was very interesting to light the shot with. It really made the movie pretty eerie. Made all the scenes pretty eerie. These cult members just kind of walking in. You can hear the crunch in the rocks. It just had this creepy feeling to it. It was really cool.
And I thought this was really interesting for me because this is one of the only scenes I wasn't there for. So finally, like, watching the movie, I was like, oh, dang, there's this whole other part, like, I just wasn't a part of, and it was a really neat part, too. So I just thought it was interesting.
So the shot that just happened where the cult leader, the guy with the mustache, that one shot that just kind of panned over and you see, like, half of his face, I love that shot so much. But John, the guy that plays him, this guy right here, he was like perfect for this role. I think like the long hair, the like really like his deep voice like works so well for this. I'm so glad that he did this.
Yeah, because John's just a regular tour guide, and even in the cave, like on normal days, he just has the voice that was meant for this. You know, like I don't know. Absolutely. I've always thought, at least.
So also, the kid playing the sacrifice, his name's Dylan. So we had to tie him up in this like I think it was like a bed sheet. Really, it wasn't really anything crazy. It was like a curtain. Maybe it was a curtain, and I literally got a white sock and just tied it around his mouth with another white sock in his mouth. But I told him like he was going to be gagged in the movie. But I never said he had to actually gag himself. Like, so he took a sock without me telling him, and he like shoved it in his mouth, and like
there were tears flowing out of his eyes.
Very Dylan move.
So we tied the sock around the other sock that was lodged in his mouth, and the entire time we were filming this, he like kept like gagging, and it was. And I just went with it because I never told him to do it, and it made it better for the shot. So I was just like, all right, dude, let's just do that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, and he had to suffer this for like 5 or 6 hours because it took about 5 to 6 hours to shoot all this. So he was just there like basically gagging himself in this pit, just laying there tied up. So it was pretty great.
I think this is one of his greatest accomplishments, though. He talks about it all the time. He's like, remember that time I was gagged in that movie? And I'm like, Dylan?
The thing is in between takes, you'd have to go up and, like, pull that, like, sock out of his mouth to let him kind of really get a deep breath.
Yeah.
2 minutes to midnight.
So,
Damn! Quickly, positions
so
everyone.
this...
We shall not waste this opportunity.
Yeah, I love that. That's great.
I think Shuri and Adrian both also did a good job. Shuri was very spooky feeling in that
Yes. Part. We haven't fun yet thing.
Yeah, she has like a little smirk and her eyebrow kind of twitches.
That's great.
You know, I've never seen John's hair down like that.
Well, he purposely grew it out to do this role, and right after he finished, he cut it. He like grew it out just for this. And so this Revendos Cravos Mortos stuff is like total gibberish. Like people think I actually like came up with this demonic ritual words, but they're not. It's just gibberish.
And the amount of times we had to go over it for everyone to be able to remember the same gibberish over and over again.
I love this. It actually looks like his throat's cut. It actually came out pretty good.
Thank you.
Yes, that was all. That was all you. Very good.
Look at that bruise.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely a great scene. Great start to the movie. I'm glad we filmed it last when we were all like, kind of got our feet wet in the making of the movie, and we knew what we were doing at this point, kind of, sort of, in a way.
A hard one to do with like all those candles and like.
Yeah.
I believe even lighting those candles for that one scene took forever.
And the wax kept burning your fingertips.
Oh yeah.
Man.
All right, here we go. The main storyline. So, all this was filmed the 22nd day of shooting. All these the animal shots and this car driving up. But then right after the car drives up, it cuts to Enzo, which is Daniel. He gets out of the car, and that's a totally different day. So this was like filmed within a couple of days apart. So I remember something specific about when we were doing the shot coming up, whenever Enzo gets out of the car.
That's when you hit the pole, right?
Yeah, well, that too. I came and I was doing that long tracking shot where we never cut, and then of course I wasn't paying attention and ran right into a pole. That's not what I remember though. So this right here, this is a totally different day, and it's just a long tracking shot with no cuts. We had to like really coordinate this. So what I remember about this is when we were filming this, there was like a bad storm, like a couple of miles away, and there was like a huge tornado down the road, and we had no idea. We could hear the thunder, but there was a literal tornado while we were filming all this, and we did not know, and we figured it out like right when we were finished.
Yeah, there's the one part where Brooke, who plays April in the film, I'm in a bush to the right of Enzo right now, hiding, and I have to wait till I see Enzo turn around this corner, and then I call her, I'm like, go, 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 and then she would come around this corner right here and all of a sudden say her line.
So yeah, that is how we coordinated that right there. She was told by phone by Sarah.
Go, 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 go. And there was a snake next to me at one point, and I was like, oh no.
Oh no, that sucks. I did not know that.
I love the way that this is shot right here. Whenever he's walking through the building and just get out of his car.
Okay, now cut to this. This was the very first shot that we ever did. Like, these scenes were the very first scenes that we ever shot, so this is the very first day of filming. We had never done anything before this.
At this point, I think I'm right. Both Sarah's, both me and the other Sarah, were not helping you at this point, right?
Not at this point. You came in a couple of days after.
I only started because I had to drive Brooke to the things after school, and so I was like, might as well help. And then all of a sudden you came along. I was like, thank God.
As soon as like all of the building shots were done and we needed to go into the cave.
I was there for a little bit of the building shots when Tony was doing the booga booga bullshit or whatever the hell that was.
Yeah. So by the way, that tracking shot that we just went through, so we had to do that 2 different days because the first day we couldn't get the shot right, and we only had a 15-minute window to do it because the manager of the place didn't show up till 8:30, and then the actual employees would start showing up at 8:45 and would ruin the shot. So we had like a 15-minute window to get the shot right and not mess up.
There was a few times we came through and people walked through during the middle of the shot, and then we had to redo it.
Yes. So first day did not work, so we had to do it a second day, and we almost didn't get the second day either, but thankfully we got the last take right.
Who was it? I think it was another one of our coworkers, Danielle, that was talking about the wires that were in the shot, and she's like, it makes us look so disorganized.
There is so much other disorganization of this building. So, I guess now's a good time to talk about characters. So, every single cast member in this movie is an employee at Interspace Cavern. They're all tour guides. Not one is a professional actor. So whenever I was writing this, I wanted to write specifically for these people. And I wanted to create kind of a parody of themselves. So Kevin, for instance, he plays a douchebag. Neil is not really a douchebag, but he kind of has that douchey look to him. So I kind of gave that to him.
And at the beginning of filming, I remember he wanted to grow out that mustache. And
Yes.
Like, man, you shouldn't do that. Then you're gonna have to shave it, and he had to keep it the entire
he knew
time.
about that mustache, and towards the end, he was so
He regretted
ready.
it.
Hey, I love that mustache. It works so well.
It really does.
Tell me about this midnight man mumbo jumbo.
Then we got Nathan, played by Michael Morris. He's
the
scaredy cat that doesn't want to ever do anything. That's kind of Michael. And then we got Megan, who plays Sarah. She plays the goofy, dorky chick, and that's basically Megan, just times 10. So
When I first saw the script, because Brooke was reading it, you had all the names of my family in the script. It's just a little side note. It was a little bit creepy.
Really?
'Cause Jerry's my dad. April was Brooke, that's my mom. And then there's me, who's Sarah. And as
yeah.
Megan. And I was
That's great.
JJ, you didn't
I
stop
swear
me.
I did not intend to do that.
It's Halloween, right?
Especially when he does a little smirk, the mustache kind of makes it all come together.
True.
And how do you suppose we go about that? I don't know. We have access to a freaking cavern.
Wait, you're not actually saying that we should summon this thing, are you?
No. I am.
So the April character was originally supposed to be somebody else when I first started writing the movie. So right at the beginning of this movie, she's kind of a bossy character, but then she really loses that as the movie goes on, because I was starting to write for Brooke. So
Yes, she's not really a...
You can definitely see it because all of a sudden the character starts crying every single scene.
Yeah.
she's not like,
So
she's not like that
she
in real
has
life.
a really big character change, and you'll notice that now that I've said it, but really it really didn't come across very,
You noticed
Not bad.
a little bit of sass in the beginning.
yeah, there's a lot of sass at the beginning with that character. I love that shot where just the twirl of the chair.
Yeah,
Spin
and
around.
the Brooke who played April and then Megan who played Sarah, they wanted to switch characters at first.
Yeah. So Brooke and Megan wanted to switch characters. Megan wanted to be the lead, April, but I just could not see her playing that, and Brooke playing the nerdy character. I just could not see that. It was written specifically for those people, so I told them no, but just trust me, it's gonna work out, and it did. I think they nailed it. So.
When you first started writing, were you writing Kevin to be Neil? Because Neil didn't get there till later, right?
It was originally supposed to be Ryan, but I wasn't really that far into that character though.
Oh,
So
okay.
it was mostly for Neil.
Yeah, I feel like when Neil came in is whenever everything, that time frame, that month was when things started flowing.
Yeah,
So-
because he got here a week before me.
So this one shot that keeps happening, it was done on one take, or it wasn't a one take, but the take just kept going. It was a long take, is what I mean. And I literally was leaning over the computer desk, holding the camera above the computer screen, and
Like a
staying
straight
there,
arm.
straight arm out, for I guess this is a 5 minute take, and it hurts so bad to be in that position for that long. So I think there's a blooper where I'm straining and the camera's shaking a bunch. But there's no actual website they're reading off of course, so we just literally put the page of the script, and he was reading off the script. So I think the computer was off. I don't even know if it was on.
Yeah, because all these, all the actors, a lot of them were in high school or they were working that day. So, they never would really learn their lines till the night of. So it
Yeah.
would be,
Minutes
15
before,
minutes of
yeah.
reading and then, 15 minutes of of actually filming, and another 10 minutes of reading, and then another, like 30 minutes of filming.
Yeah, they had to practice their lines, read their lines right before.
But it was incredible because you would think if it were flipped on you, if you think about how long it would take, they were learning it. In the beginning, it was taking them a little bit longer, but in
After
the middle
a while,
of
they
like,
definitely got it.
filming, yeah, just like kind of flowed all the way through.
But I think it was Enzo and Michael who would change their lines like every other take.
Michael. Michael would do that so much that Neil would get it.
Oh man, because we'd be down the cave from what, like 6 or 7 to like 10 or 11, 11:30 at night, and Neil, who plays Kevin, would be like, "I want to go home," and he was like, "Michael, shut up." It would get really bad.
Yep.
Look at his little sexy self.
But only if everybody else goes too.
You got it. I'll be right back.
So this coming up, I love.
Unfortunately, yes.
Hey guys, so I have an idea to run past you.
These robot noises that my sound guy Luke put in is great. And then what this Enzo line right here,
Does your brain have to boot up again?
that
No.
he improv that and it was great. He actually improved a bunch of different lines, but that was the absolute best one, and it always gets laughs.
Decided to test the legend of the Midnight Man tonight.
Also, the Midnight Man is an actual legend, internet legend, that I wanted to kind of make my own and kind of mix it in with Slender Man a little bit.
What is the Midnight Legend?
It's this demon that you summon at midnight, basically.
Is it like in a certain
Typically.
area?
No, it's just this internet thing that's got started. I think it's like creepypasta or something.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but what about Nathan?
We've talked about it. We'll talk to him and
I think the computer
Good luck.
screen has changed a lot
Something like that.
throughout these scenes.
Oh,
Best
Tony,
part,
one take
yeah.
wonder here.
So this is Tony Bowerman. He's actually one of the managers at Interspace, and this role had kind of a big deal because of the ending. So I really wanted Tony to do it, and I knew he could pull it off because he had told me he had like done a bunch of plays before. So he nailed it. He never messed up once. That's great.
I remember that day filming went by really fast. First of all, because Tony was good, but everybody else didn't want to mess up in front of Tony.
Yeah.
Yes.
So all of a sudden, all the rest of the people were like very serious and like weren't laughing.
Everybody was on their best behavior.
Yeah.
But this is still early days. This is like day 2 of filming. Yeah, that booga booga bullshit line
That's the
gets
best.
a crazy laugh every showing we do.
You stay here. I'll go talk to him.
Yay, a party! I'm so excited.
For me, this next scene is one of my favorites because of the energy level that changes. Like Neil or Kevin will hit the book out of Nathan. Is it Nathan? Yeah. Out of his hand, and all of a sudden the energy like quickly diminishes.
And of course, whenever he hits the book out of his hand, Michael, guy who plays Nathan, would laugh every time, and we'd have to do it over and over again.
That was definitely a big thing that set us back a lot, is that something would happen and either somebody would laugh behind scenes or somebody would laugh in the shot, usually in the shot, and that would like ruin everything.
Michael's just a really big goofball. I feel like like in any situation, in any part of us filming, he was able to make everyone laugh.
That is true. It got annoying at the end of the night, but it did make it did
but
make
made it
filming
better.
fun.
Good memories.
No funny business, man. Just a couple friends getting together, breaking a couple rules, and hanging out.
Neil actually does do these little faces like that.
Yeah.
Like Kevin.
I mean, okay, fine, I'll go. But nothing Midnight Man related. Matter of fact, nothing horror related at all.
Same with Michael's character.
It's very
Yeah.
Michael like.
What about Jerry?
What about him? That Renacott, he sucks at his job. Just gotta be a little sneaky, that's all.
Okay, but what about the key?
All right, so this scene coming up where they're starting to talk about who dies first in a scary movie. This was one a joke, and two, it was my way of trying to confuse people of who is gonna die first, who's gonna last the longest.
Because even on the poster, like
that's another thing.
It makes it look like Brooke, who plays April, is gonna survive.
Exactly.
And then we all know this is exactly.
So it was that scene, and then the poster. I purposely put the April character up front to make it seem like she was going to be the final girl that lived. Seemed like she's the main character.
Yeah.
And then I just put everybody else kind of in a random order to where it just you couldn't really figure it out. And then this scene that kind of confuses people with the whole like, you know, I thought nerdy girls survive all the way to the end, or they usually die at the end. Like everybody's kind of arguing with that. So that was kind of a throw off. Also, when I was writing this, I was trying to write it to where you can't tell who's the main person, who's the main character. Just throughout the whole movie, you can't really tell who the main one is.
I did think that was something really interesting because usually horror movies, like right off the bat, you can tell who's going to survive because it's the person they follow the most. And this one, like I already knew the ending, but it was very like ambiguous of who was the main person we were following. You know what I mean?
Like when I screened this movie, like a bunch of people come up to me and like I thought the main character was going to be Nathan. I thought it was going to be all about him because he was the one scared and wanted and you know, and I've heard people thought that, you know, Megan, the Sarah character was gonna live all the way to the end. So it worked. So this is Jesse. He plays Derek, the maintenance guy, and his hair is actually like this. People constantly ask, is like, is this something he did for the movie? No, this is him.
These are not extensions. These are not clip-ons. These are 2 dreadlocks sticking out from his hat.
All right, and then this is our general manager, Tanya Vessels. So she basically plays herself. Once again, another person plays herself, except she's not this bossy. She's not this mean, but she plays a general manager in the movie.
Okay.
And
I always had a question about this because we have another manager that's named Wendy, but you named her Miss Wendy. That was always kind of
it was just like an homage. Like I just put her name in there. I wasn't saying that the real Miss Wendy is like this. It was just using that name as an homage kind of to the people that work at the cave. But really nobody else would know that if you don't work at the cave.
And the line about Jerry and the what was one-legged dog or whatever it is cracks me up every time.
No, that gets a huge laugh a lot of the showings too.
Think I wasn't gonna find out about this?
Well, you probably wouldn't have if it wasn't for me.
It's crazy because Tanya's character, Miss Wendy, is actually a lot more stern and mean-looking than she truly is. She's very smiley.
But whenever I kind of came up to her and asked, "Hey, I have this script and I really want to, you know, film it here at Interspace," I kind of threw in, "Hey, if you say yes, there's a little part for you." And she was like, "All right." So yeah, she loved it.
Film everything they do.
Okay, but why can't you do that?
Because I have plans. And I'm not going to cancel them. Now,
Every time I watch this film, I'm smiling the entire film.
Because not only is it a good movie, but it is very like personal to the guides that work here too. Like we know everybody's personality and everything that went into it too. It's just really interesting.
Well, just the fact that nobody here is actors and that we actually created this and it's actually going around the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It's getting noticed.
All right. So this right here is actually the 22nd day of filming. It was the day before last. And
that is Michael's actual dinner. He wanted Chipotle, and he got to incorporate it into the scene. I think that was the happiest I ever saw him filming.
Yes,
the entire time.
He was eating in that little area behind the counter, and I was like, "Do not move. Keep doing what you're doing. I'm gonna film this." Okay, so here comes my part, which I hate watching it, but let's do this.
Little side note, at first it was me holding the camera, and then it ended up being Michael who plays Nathan.
Yeah.
And the girl in the scene, Brooke, who plays April, her and I needed to go to a movie. And it was in like 35 minutes, and we were like, hey, JJ, we need to get to this movie.
And I kept messing up.
Oh my God.
Over and over again. But I
45 takes.
had 1 hour of sleep, and I had just finished working that day, so I was tired.
He did look very tired, but I was very
But hey, I
frustrated.
got it finally.
I thought it.
And by the way, I was wearing a shirt. It said Cult of Arwen, and that is it's a shirt for my favorite director's podcast, and he is the whole reason that this movie was made. I actually went to go see his movie in Houston. He was kind of touring it everywhere, and he's the whole reason that I made this movie as kind of inspiration after seeing it and talking to him.
Did you do that on purpose?
So yeah, I wore that shirt on purpose as kind of a homage to that. Also, while they were walking, Kevin's character says, "Let's meet at the Crowley parking lot." Crowley is referencing Victor Crowley from the movie that I saw when I met my favorite director. The movie's called Victor Crowley, so that's another reference back to back.
Everything's gonna go as planned. Jerry, my man.
Oh, Jerry. So this is Bradford Riley, and he actually has some acting experience, and he was just great. Like, I actually wasn't picturing the character to be this way, and he made it his own, and I love it. Like this whole goofy, like the Andy Griffith Show, like Don Knotts type of thing going on. I don't know if y'all know anything about that. That's what I feel like he's doing, and it's great.
This portion always makes me want to use my inhaler because he's like running, gasping for air, which we know he's not truly like that in real life. But
And in this scene, you didn't need lights or anything, so it was just you filming. But I was there because I had to drive Brooke home, and I'm hiding in that little shed area behind there. And then you started walking that way once, so I was like, "Oh no!" So I'm like slowly scooching back, trying to get out of the shot.
So this was kind of a pain. This whole scene was a pain, and I was very scared about it when I was editing it together because one, the audio was complete garbage because it was super windy this day. It was like the only windy day ever, and the audio was trash. And then plus the highway was right there, so all you hear in the back of this audio was the entire time. But thankfully, we were able to clean that up on this really expensive program that my good friend Luke that did the audio, he bought and fixed it, and it sounds so much better, and it's amazing. Also, the lighting. As we were filming this, it was getting darker.
And Bradford can only be here for a certain amount
of
days.
It was only this day that he could shoot this scene, and then he was only available another day to shoot the end scenes. So we had to shoot this scene like this day. So we were losing light at this point. So I had to color correct this whole scene to where when they first walk out of the building, it's dark. And I had to, as it got darker, I had to make sure that the lighting was almost the same. So I had to, pretty much this scene, these shots that we're seeing, I had to match it to the first shots where they were walking out the building. So all this dark stuff right here, I had to match that with.
Yeah, I remember you being super stressed out about that. You're like, let's go. It's got lights and blah, blah, blah.
This is one of my favorite parts.
Yes.
It's got all of the...
So we shot this much later after the scene that we just did. This was shot much later than that. We actually shot this the day that we were shooting the death scene, or the hill scene with all the eyes gouged out at the very end of the movie. Mm-hmm. And then cut to just one of the earlier days right here.
This is still one of the funniest days to me.
This was
because,
a good time.
First of all, it was supposed to be a serious scene, but everybody was just having a lot of fun. So there's a lot of like cuts of them where JJ would be filming, and they'd all be smiling.
One real quick. Right here, Brooke racked Neil in the balls, like directly with a flashlight.
Like, and those flashlights, I don't think people understand.
The 3-cell
They're
mag light.
heavy. Like you can knock somebody out with one of those flashlights.
So when they were running, she racked him so hard, and there's a great blooper of it.
And you can see it's like It looks
slow
painful,
motion,
and I'm not even a dude.
I love the shot right here. The wind and the leaves.
Yeah,
That is so great.
like,
It was so perfect.
very spooky.
Yeah, this is one of the first times we started doing like equipment with lights and everything for Bradford. And I remember it being super windy, and I was like shouting out lines at him. It was very interesting.
Wait, he saw you?
That was also not written into the script, right?
The shoe untied, yeah, it was.
Oh, it was.
There's a bat makes a cameo appearance right here. There it is.
I remember you being like, I'm trying to pick the scenes bats.
Yeah, I really wanted the bats to be in the movie. And there's another shot of a bat coming up soon.
This is where everything starts to get
So,
really interesting.
This is like, this seems like breaking into the cave 101. But no, it's a lot more difficult to break into this cave. So don't worry, guys. You can't do this.
I don't think that'd be a don't worry thing. I feel like that would be for us, don't worry.
No,
But
I'm
then
talking to people that are
very
buying the
sorry.
Blu-ray. You can't break into the cave this easy.
They're like, so that's how they open those gates.
Yeah.
There's a lot more that go behind those gates than actually appear.
A lot of people ask me down the cave, like, could people break in here? And I'm like, I
No,
don't know.
it's not that easy. Some crazy alarm systems for this place.
I remember Neil doing that thing.
Yeah.
That was so funny to me. Like, and nobody asked him to do that. And all of a sudden he does this, like, weird...
This awkward crawl
Gecko
under.
crawl underneath him.
Yeah.
Like, not touching one part of his body to the It's like him playing directly underneath.
So this right here, this was Sarah Hill, your first day of shooting, right? You were helping with this?
I was there a few days before, but this is the first time I actually started, like, helping with things. Because
So
we had
you-
to use lights in this.
You were running the lights right here.
Yeah.
So by the way, we have two Sarahs here, and
Sarah Crew.
there's we call you guys the Sarah crew. Plus, there's a character named Sarah.
Yes,
So
it's
you-
very...
So you can imagine
Confusing.
how confusing it was on set.
I mean, I would like to say, just on a personal Sarah opinion, I think you'll agree with this.
Mhm.
It's like very common to be in a place with lots of Sarahs, so
Yeah.
we're used to it.
Very
but other
normal.
people are like, "What's going on?"
Too many.
I remember this is I think like the first time you used those lights before too, because you bought that big light like right before this, and so we were trying to figure out like the settings and like how to change it, and like with that other light behind Jesse too, it was kind of confusing.
Yeah, that light kind of works though. It's kind of cool that he was kind of hiding behind the light a little bit because he couldn't really tell who he was at first.
Yeah.
So I think it kind of worked a little bit. I love the little things he does, like little faces. And y'all may have noticed, like he was like completely like his finger was completely on the trigger and just shaking it all at Derek, and that's like the best. It's like total goofy guy. Oh yeah. that we had to reshoot. That was reshot. The first time we did it, it was like too dark, so that was like one of the last days of shooting right there. This too. All this.
That was also at the very end, wasn't it, of one of the days we were shooting?
Yes, this was like the very last thing we shot at the end of the
We
night,
were all like,
and they're super tired. You can kind of tell a little bit in that shot.
Yeah, you can definitely tell certain scenes. It kind of works for certain scenes though, because they are here really late at night.
Mhm.
But you can definitely tell when a shot was taken at the beginning of the night
Yeah.
versus at the end of the night.
Yeah, whenever it was tired. Here's another bat right there. There you go.
Yeah, those bats are super cool. I think it was a cool effect too, because it makes it look less setty, you know, like a set type environment like you would get with most films. Because somebody did ask me, like one of my friends I brought, and she was like, "Oh, is this like? Did you guys ever have like a set or anything?" I was like, "No, we were down in the cave."
No, the cave
every
was the
single
set.
night."
So I feel like we wasted almost a whole day doing these walking shots.
Yeah.
There was a lot of walking just for this montage of walking.
I remember there was a big
Oh.
thing with the walking stuff, everybody would forget the order. And
Yeah.
so they'd get in a different order, and then we'd be like, what are you doing?
So if this take kept going, if it didn't cut to a different take, you would see Daniel trip and fall down that stair right there. But you'll see that in the blooper reel.
And you notice all the formations are wet in all the rooms. This is not like fabricated. This is all like an actual
Yeah.
cavern.
It's the real
not
stuff.
Cold. It's very humid, very warm. So keep that in mind whenever you see characters walking around in coats and jackets.
Yeah, so a lot of people go to caves and expect them to be cold, which
Certain ones
most
are.
of them are when you're in the northern states, but when you're in Texas, they're not.
Even in New Mexico with that Carlsbad one, that one's cold as well.
Yeah,
Mhm.
but even that's more up north than us. So
That's true.
We're also very shallow.
yeah, we're shallow caves. That also kind of determines the temperature. So it's very, very humid, very hot. So we would get out of these filming nights just sweaty and nasty and exhausted.
It's also, I think, I like to mention as well, it is very disorienting being a guide because we know these pathways, and they're not exactly what they look like in the movies.
Oh yeah, so whenever they're walking, that whole montage of them walking everywhere, it doesn't make sense if you know the cave.
Yeah.
Like the rooms are just random that it keeps flashing to. But nobody's going to know that unless you watch or listen to this commentary. So, and by the way, if you're listening to this commentary before you've seen the actual movie, you're stupid. Go and watch the movie. I'm
He
sorry,
just
but
attacked his
I'm
customer.
sorry, but that's the truth. You should not be watching the commentary before you watch the actual
Maybe
movie.
people just really wanted to
Well,
hear Sarah and
no,
my
they should
take on
not
it.
be
Yeah.
doing this.
The crazy thing that I like on a side note, I'm looking at this on a different screen now than what we're used to watching it on. Is on like the huge big screen.
Yeah.
What I'm noticing is like when you're watching it on a screen like this and like the contrast is really deep, it makes the rooms look way larger than
That
they
is
truly
true.
are.
They look humongous.
And they look
and-
really good.
Yeah, we have big rooms, but not. This definitely gave it a more cave-like vibe.
Everybody loves that right there. Always gets a good laugh. The whole Hitler thing. So
It
great.
fit Neil's character really well too, I thought.
Those dang chips and that
chips.
queso.
So a lot of people
whatever
miss
it
this, but right here you hear Sarah's character go, "I can't. I'm lactose intolerant. It'll just get me gassy." And then you'll hear another voice go, "Ew." And that's supposed to be Daniel's character. And it was actually Dylan Warden who played the sacrifice at the very beginning of the movie. He
The kid
happened
with
he
the
happened to
sock.
be on set during that time, and I was like, "Hey, just say ew for me." And he did, and that's his voice, but he's supposed to be Daniel saying
And
that.
this was super funny with the
Yes.
beer thing because JJ wanted them all
Yes.
seem older. Majority of these people are under 21. And
Yeah.
so
So we had to take the brand off of the beer and then pour water into the bottles for the under 21
and they
people.
would all complain because it tasted like a little bit of beer.
So
It was
right
just
here,
like
she is
dirty
drinking
water.
water. She was 16 or 17. She was 17 when she was filming this.
It's good
no.
though. Look at the swig.
No,
She's
no,
a
actually,
pro.
no. She was 16. She was 16 when she was filming this. And
No.
she had turned 17 during the filming of this.
Oh,
Yeah.
you're
Yeah.
right. You're right.
So- So she was 16 when she was drinking that, but she's supposed to be playing an older character.
yeah,
so
and the
it's fine.
Michael and Neil were both over 21, so they were drinking the beers on set, and they drank the other people's beers as well.
Yeah. Thankfully, they didn't get drunk from it because then
No,
that would have
but-
made me upset.
Michael definitely was feeling the effects.
Yeah.
The amount of sand that was getting into their drinks also from that sand pit.
Also, during that beer scene, the apple juice.
Yeah.
I love that. That was kind of like just on the spot. We like thought of that. Somebody thought of that. I don't think it was me.
I think
Sarah?
it was Neil.
But I think it's funny. Nobody ever laughs at it. I think we've had one big laugh at a screening before, and that's it. Now, this scene right here where they're telling these stories. So the first one where this girl was screaming about they were in hell and they're all going to die. That really happened. I don't think she was on acid or anything like that, but it really happened on a tour. It was a tour guide's like second day working, And they got to the back of the cave on the tour, and all of a sudden this lady just started screaming, saying that they were in hell and they were going to die. So that is a real thing that happened at Inner Space Cavern. So I threw that in there. Also, the skin flap, where the Nathan character talks about somebody bumped their head in a skin flap. That was on my tour. I actually saw that in person.
Yeah,
really
a bunch of stuff happens at Cape all the time. I haven't seen a big skin flap, but I've seen people hit their heads and it leaves hair behind on the ceiling.
I've seen actual gore from it. But the third story, this one she's telling, the Narnia thing with the throw up, that's not a true thing.
It's very realistic, though.
Yeah,
you have a lot of little kids.
Yeah. Also for the Sarah character, too.
Yeah, either pee on tours.
So right here, there's a little speaker that they're listening to music on. And you can see it kind of glowing blue right there on the bottom of the screen in between them. So it's playing music, and it wasn't on set. We added that in. But right when Nathan leaves, he turns it off, and you hear the... And a lot of people think like they're like very confused about that, and it's kind of a bummer. But that's what it is. When the music cuts off, you hear the blue, and that's the actual Bluetooth thing turning off. It's right here.
I think Kevin's or Neil's hat also really added to that character.
Oh.
The fact that he already had that hat in his possession. Just
Okay. So real quick, this scene that's coming up. So while we were filming this, I have no experience about filmmaking. I was learning everything as I was going. And there is something called a 180 rule whenever you're filming, and I broke it here. So right here is where it was broken. So 180 rule is you have to film across a line, and you can never cross that line. So if you do, it looks like the other person is looking in the same direction. So in this case, they're not, because I had to flip this image right here of Neil, which is Kevin. So his image is mirrored, so I'm not breaking the 180 rule. So his cap is actually backwards, but you can't tell because of the shadow. But this image is mirrored, so you don't notice that the 180 rule is broken.
I never even saw that.
You can't see it unless I tell you.
His cap is backwards?
So
Yeah,
because
because
I flipped the image.
So the words are backwards.
So he was originally looking in the opposite direction, but that broke the 180 rule, and it looked stupid. I didn't know that. But I couldn't reverse the image on one of the shots because he looks off to the left.
This is very high-tech information.
Well, yeah.
Wow, JJ, I could not even tell.
I think this whole segment of like the cutting and all this stuff was the longest filming out of everything, because it had so many words and so many, like, we had to, there would be scenes where that bag of chips, all of a sudden someone would shove a chip in their mouth, and then JJ would say, action, and then it'd be like crunch, and then we'd have to restart the whole thing.
You can't do that.
Well, just like Sarah said, this is like one of the longer scenes, so like the majority of the time, don't get it wrong, we're carrying the light, but this light was just set.
this was toward the end of filming. This was like the 18th or 19th day. So we shot this movie really out of order. It was just really out of order. So this is like one of the last days or toward the end.
Yeah, and the light was like a pretty heavy. It wasn't really a light that was heavy. It was the box that was heavy.
The battery.
So it was better if we could put the box down and then just hold the light, and then we'd switch off, because like it would get time just holding it up. But
yeah, well, the whole point of saying that it was on the floor, all the darkness in the background there. I'm sure if you were to lighten it up, you would see Sarah and I like stuck in a hole or
walking around with mud.
Yeah.
So this scene coming up, Nathan, he sometimes
this made me laugh.
Sometimes
so hard.
Michael would overact.
I don't know why I just paused.
He would overact a lot. And during this scene, he overacted, and he was like really breathing heavily, and like was going real slow and like really dramatic acting. So I had to cut this and like do movie magic to make it look believable and not
He's going so slow.
It was also
so during this, like right here, I had to use this. Come on, hurry. So I could cut to something else. that Come On Hurries was supposed to be in a totally different spot in that scene. It wasn't even supposed to go there. I just thought, okay, I have this. I'm going to put it here instead. So this could work.
This part was not supposed to be funny, but at least for us, Michael made it hilarious.
Yeah, just
because he sits there and he's like,
with his little lips.
So this is great. It went from them blowing out the candles to complete silence. And in the theater, everybody's like dead quiet, waiting for something to happen, like a jump scare, and nothing ever happens.
Yeah.
And like, oh man. So it's great. And then this gets a good laugh every time. The camera flash.
that was one of the scariest things for me is her carrying around that camera, because they were like, especially when I wasn't there the day they filmed her death scene.
Oh,
but
we were
like
in Tom's
her having to carry
to...
that would scare the crap out of me, because like that lens and all that stuff. Because that's like a nice camera.
We woke you up, didn't we? Which you're welcome for, by the way.
Yeah.
The Tooth Fairy is
Of course, it's also obviously really silent on set, so whenever Neil's actually like raising his voice saying those words, it's really, really eerie feeling.
Yeah, it was really
when you have the
intense.
total darkness all behind you.
So there's
That was
Arkin.
my phone.
Yeah. So this voice is Tanya once again. It's the manager.
Who's there?
I recorded it way after we were finished filming, so this was done just in post.
All the videos or all the audio was done like way after.
Well, the
recording.
voices, yeah.
Yeah.
Like the voices, yeah.
I remember we had to get the light up on a like pile of rocks too.
Yeah.
To
And
light it up.
We were scared it was gonna fall, so we had to switch off like holding it up.
So this, they had to react to nothing. There was no scream there. So I'm glad it worked out where they all turned at the same time.
That was, I don't know if y'all noticed, but look at Brooke's character. She's all into it. She's deep breathing. You can really feel the fear.
Yes. She has that facial expression like every time she's scared, like it's
Well, because
it's
her
perfect.
eyes get really like intense because they're already like really blue, and then she's looking and staring directly like into what you think you would be feeling like at that moment. It's
It's not a joke.
It's amazing.
Yeah, I definitely think she has one of the best facial expressions out of everybody here. Michael lacks a little bit in that.
Yeah, how about we don't and say that we did? What if somebody's hurt?
You're crazy. There's nobody else down here.
One way to find out. Did he just pull a gun out of his ass? Did that just happen?
Enzo's really funny
That's one
too.
of my favorite lines too.
Yeah, that gets a huge laugh too.
At this point, you should just be happy I have it. Now let's go.
So I just want to point out something now that we're kind of like in an area where there's not a lot to talk about with filming. So April, who was played by Brooke, at this moment she's wearing a necklace that has a daisy on it, and that was a necklace she already had. About, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks into filming, we're still kind of scared of director JJ because we're thinking he's going to yell at us if we do something wrong. She didn't come with her necklace one day, so she ended up taking one from the Inner Space gift shop and wearing it. So in a few scenes, you'll actually see where her necklace will change. And it just really, it's one of my favorite
So
things.
this shot right here, Enzo hits his head so hard, like if it didn't cut there, he would have hit it right there. And that's gonna be in the bloopers. So check out the bloopers. He hit it pretty hard.
Keep your eyes peeled.
So so this phone right here, this was Neil's phone, and it was great because it was broken already, so it worked for the scene.
And he
And-
just broke it.
And Jesse's picture is so great. So they had never seen that picture before when I said action. So when they opened it for the first time, everybody bursted out laughing because they were not expecting to see that face.
I think that this little clip worked out really well.
Yeah, it really has that eerie feeling of like they're starting to freak out. You could feel the tension starting to build up. So this little hand thing was me and you, Sarah.
Yeah.
Was me and Sarah C. We filmed that just with a phone, and I literally and to make the hand like slide out of the frame, I grabbed Jesse, who plays Arkin, and Derek. I grabbed him by the legs and just pulled him really fast.
Did it a couple times. It was actually one of the scene like shots that happened pretty okay.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Screw Derek. Let's just get the hell out of here. Okay, so this right here, when they start to pack up. So whenever I shot it and when I edited it together, I wasn't thinking, but it really came out great because I cut to Daniel right here packing up the queso and the chips, and I think that always gets a little giggle too because he had mentioned the chips and queso earlier, so he's like, this character is kind of obsessed with his chips and queso. But I didn't think about that at all when I was editing, and it just happened to work out fine.
Like, we gotta get out of here. Don't forget the chips and queso.
So at this point, this is when all the running backwards began in the movie, which was one of the hardest things ever because we had this really heavy box that was the battery to the light. So someone would have to be carrying that, or they'd have to carry the light too, or we'd have a separate person.
So a lot of times there was 3 people running backwards in tandem, which
was really hard to do, especially like I'm 5'4", and JJ's a little bit taller than me, and sometimes it would be like Michael in the back that's like 5'10", 5'11". So his size steps were like a lot different than mine. It was very difficult.
Yeah, I mean, what would you say the height was in some of these areas? I mean, I'm 5'7". I feel like it's
some of these areas could. It was like sometimes 5 foot, I think.
Yeah, because there's that one hallway that's been cut out of that Dola stone. That's short man's or tall man's torture, and that one's like 5.
So real quick, a lot of people watch this and say, "I thought you're not supposed to touch the cave." You're not supposed to. But those are really the formations you're not supposed to touch. These are not formations. This is just rock.
As tour guides,
flint.
I think sometimes we generalize don't touch anything because people have a really hard time telling the difference.
Telling the difference.
So, like,
so we just tell people not to touch anything.
Yeah, on my hidden passage, I would be like, you can touch this certain type of rock, not calcite though, because that is that.
She did the hello.
Where are you?
So the voice was done by CJ Craner, another tour guide. Just needed a voice, so I got somebody to do it. Worked out great. Sounds like a creepy little girl.
And again, this is another one of those scenes that if you know the cave, it doesn't really make sense.
Right.
Because she's walking out of a hallway that's only like, I think 3 or 4 feet tall.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely really small. Whenever we're running with these lights and cameras backwards, and he's saying that there's 3 of us, we're literally hanging onto each other's belt loops.
And sometimes you're running down a hill or up a hill. That one
it's not always flat.
Yeah, the one where we had to run up the hill with Neil. Oh my god, that one was
Okay, so here we go. This shot coming up, we had to shoot running backwards in tandem right here. Somebody was carrying a light behind me, and then that person was carrying the battery.
Also following.
And then at the end of one of those takes, I crashed into the wall and scraped up my entire side, and it sucked.
Because these rocks like hurt when you hit them because they're pointy and.
There was one time she was coming through and got stuck right there, and she was like lodged.
We were all like lodged underneath the flint nodules over on the other side, and the flint got me.
So this is a tiny room that she just crawled into. So all the crew is like huddled like right behind the camera in a very small space.
And that room you can't stand straight up in.
No,
it's like a 3 foot.
I wasn't here this day. How did you guys get the lighting with Arkin in that tunnel?
I think a flashlight or something.
That was a flash.
It might have been a flashlight.
There was a lot of flashlights used in filming to kind of replicate that flashlight thing.
So this is a separate day, totally different day from what we just saw.
Guys, where's Sarah?
She still has the daisy necklace.
Yes.
She still has the daisy necklace.
I'm watching for it this time.
To be honest with you guys, I haven't noticed the necklace thing. She just told me about this, and I was like, wow. So yeah, it's like you gotta tell me in the commentary.
Thanks for bringing me down here, guys. Hey, calm down.
It's a little like movie game.
Easter
trying to
egg
figure
or
out
something.
when Brooke's necklace changes.
Yeah. All right. This is probably my favorite scene of the movie coming up. Oh, there's a blooper where
this is when
Nathan falls.
No,
but this scene right here is probably my favorite. The just the vibe of this scene, and then the audio that we made for it, the music has a really cool bass thing that happens like.
And this is one of the really like the only jump scare we have in the movie. You know
one
what
of
I
the
mean?
two. There's another one, but
this is like I feel like the most impactful one.
Yeah. So this one was really interesting to make, to try to make, because one, this flashlight falling, we had to kind of loosen it and hope
flashlights
and hope that it turned off when we dropped it. And then this flickering thing, we had to figure out how to make it do that just by hitting it. So again, loosening it to the right amount. Very precise loosening.
Yeah, like to where it's almost about to pop off.
Okay, and then the camera flash coming up. So the camera flash itself did not light the shot up enough. So what we did was we had to get the crew, the Sarahs, or whoever was on set, to light up the shot with mag lights.
Yeah, we had to like precisely do it at the same exact time. I'd have the 3-cell mag light, and then she'd have her camera. And we tried to coordinate.
So yeah, right there, right whenever the flash goes off, like you had to wait like half a second after the flash, and then you would flash the flashlight, right?
Yeah, so it was like you would hear the noise from the camera happen, and then you would
lightly hit the mag light, and then you would have to make sure it turned off right at the same time as the flash,
you
right?
You have to even like press it in, right?
And also the camera was having trouble actually just flashing because it's dark in there. It couldn't focus on anything, so it wouldn't actually take the picture. So that was another problem that we were having too. So it was very fun to try to figure out how to do this shot, and it actually came out great to me. I love it. I love all of this.
It was great, and it was also kind of scary feeling whenever he was moving closer.
I think it's a good thing to mention as well. I had a friend, she came down, watched the movie, and in the movie it makes it seem like it echoes in the cave, but then you go in the cave and there's no echoing at all.
Yeah.
So you have to kind of add that in to the movie.
So yeah, all the voices that you hear, or even when they're shouting, we added reverb to it to make it sound like echo in the cave. So that was all in post.
There at inner space, everything and anything feels like it gets absorbed within that rock.
Yeah. Which people are really surprised about. Most people think there's going to be a big echo effect in the cave.
Not in this cave. It's like a recording studio in there. It's super silent. All right, so this sound, this gore noise, is actually me on set. Not while I'm doing the take. I just recorded a little audio bit of it. But I pointed the camera at the ground and was recording the sound of my foot going back and forth in the mud.
Yeah, because there had been rain a few days before. So
So you're hearing a squishy mud sound right now, which is Arkin carving out the eyeball of the Sarah character. But that's just mud.
And I feel like the mud in the cave is different than up at top at the surface. The mud in the cave is more clay-like. It's super thick. So
I usually say like on my tours, it's like the consistency.
Okay, so this is one day. This is a totally separate day, and Brooke is out of order. So I had to like zoom in to where you can't really tell. Just on that one shot, but nobody notices it because I zoomed in enough to where you just see their feet walking.
I think like I'd never really been part of any type of filming or anything like that, other than like juvenile stuff and like at high school or whatever. So it was kind of interesting to see all those little tiny aspects of like you have to be in the right order, you have to be in the right position, your hair has to be the same, all that stuff. Everything's
going by so fast. It's like there's so many stories to tell.
So that part that just passed with him hovering over her with the eyeball. Yeah, I know that's what you're trying to say.
Yeah. So we had to do that multiple times.
Sweat from the mask.
Yes. One of the times we put the makeup on, and it was on both eyes the first time,
and seeping in her eyes.
And the blood got in her eyes, and we didn't know because both her eyes were being blocked, and she wasn't saying anything. She was just laying there, and we were filming this for hours, and there was blood in her eye under the prosthetics. So we took it off, and she was just crying, and we were like, "What the heck?
Yep.
Like, how come you didn't say anything?" But she was just
so sweet.
She was taking it like a trooper. So we had to reshoot it because it didn't look right. So we had to come back another day and reshoot it. This time we only used one prosthetic. We just covered one eye, and I actually covered it with black tissue paper, just to prevent the blood from going in. Yeah. But instead, something else happened. So the character Arkin is just kind of hovering over her, and there was sweat that had built up in the chin of the mask. So as he was kneeling over her, that pocket of sweat dripped through the mask and onto her face.
And it wasn't even a drip. It was like a solid flow that came out. Remember, it's humid. It's warm.
And
we were in there for hours.
The Arkin costume, like I saw it, like not on him. It is very heavy.
Yeah.
Like
The
numerous
suit,
layers.
the thick mask, thick gloves.
Also, a couple takes later, he farted right next to her. So that was another thing that happened.
That was a constant
Typical
thing on
Jesse.
set. Thank you very much.
All right, so back to this part. All right. So,
Michael's nostrils are flaring.
Yeah.
I think just on a blooper factor, Michael's death is my favorite.
That gets a huge laugh every time. Neil has a lot of good laughs.
Facial expressions and stuff.
He gets a lot of laughs in the movie. So, this is actually a separate day from what we just saw.
This filming took so long because Michael, Nathan, he just could not get this death correct.
Mm-hmm.
Either he wouldn't fall down or he'd laugh after snapping his own neck.
Yeah, what bothers me is that when people see this, they actually don't notice Nathan die because it's such a quick shot. And it had to be that way. For one, it was kind of my mistake too. I should have shot a little bit more. But also, he kept messing up. He couldn't get the death right. He couldn't just fall or snap his neck right. So the take that is used was the best that I could possibly do.
And it was a lot too because...
so right here, that he is dead right there. Everybody, in case you missed it, that is him dying. All right, now this. Brooke actually fell. Hard too.
Those are actual rocks.
That was an actual rock, and I'm a douchebag because I didn't give her any padding or anything like that. She just fell. She did her own stunts, obviously.
It was like a false slide.
And she actually has a scar from it now. Like she legit fell, and that is a hard fall.
Caleb.
Freaking Academy Award for best fall right there.
And it was more than one take. So if that take there that was used in
the
movie.
biggest laugh of this entire movie, every single time this movie is shown, this right here is the loudest laugh it gets.
Nope.
That right there, like everybody loves that.
I feel like that is every person that watches horror movies on a regular basis thought. They're like, just go away.
More running backward shots. This was hell.
Oh, you can tell that the
This
camera's
was so
definitely
hell.
moving in them.
This part was a little bit easier just because the ceiling.
There was more.
The
ceiling was, but it was still uneven ground, and we kept bumping into rocks.
Neil's also a tall guy too, like 5'11", so his strides are giant, and we're both like waddling backwards.
So, by the way, I just like to point out that the Arkin voice that you're hearing right now is me in the studio. We're at my friend Luke's house in the studio, and I'm just saying these lines, and he just manipulated the audio and just made it deeper.
So this hill you're looking at right here is the hill that gave, I think, me the most stress. Running backwards.
Another running backward shot right there.
So hard.
Yep.
And we were already so tired.
Oh my god, because usually this was at the end of the, like, for some reason we'd always be filming at the end of the night.
Okay, so the shots of Neil here on one side of the gate is one night, and whenever you see him on the opposite side, whenever the camera's on the other side of the gate, is a totally different night. These are two separate nights right here that we're seeing. So that's a fun fact there. Everybody loves this too.
It's crazy because when you're watching this, it's not nearly as loud as how he was when he was yelling at the hill.
Oh yes, he was so loud.
I'm down here! Help!
Yeah, he was yelling pretty loud. But the audio is mixed and mastered to where all the audio levels are even.
Similar. Yeah.
So the speakers don't get blown out.
Because I think as all as tour guides, we have like relatively loud voices, but Neil's, man, it's on the next level.
So that is actually 811 that was dialed. I don't know if anybody notices that. That was 811. And this is another manager of Inner Space Cavern on the phone. I had to give her a little cameo, of course. And of course, this is the common, horror movie thing that happens where the character does something stupid like tell 911 that he's being chased by a demon. It wouldn't be a horror movie if they didn't do stupid things. If they didn't run up the stairs and hide in the closet or call 911 and tell them they're being chased by a ghost.
Go towards the weird noise.
Go towards the weird noise. It wouldn't be a horror movie if this
And
stuff
then
didn't
this was
happen.
hard too. We had to shine a light on Arkin to be able to get him seen in the shot, because we tried it without the light and you couldn't really tell who it was.
All right, so this is like, I believe, the 4th or 5th day of shooting right here. So this is like totally early on. This is like, this was just a day where not a whole lot of people could show up to film. So I just like, all right, let's just go and shoot this since we got these actors, since we got Brooke and Enzo. So I was very nervous about this because this is way into the movie when it's like the serious stuff and they're like hurt and they've seen people die at this point. So I was scared that they wouldn't really know how to act and it wouldn't work out. It wouldn't like flow right, but it did. Like, you can't really tell that this is early on. Like, this is the first time they had to kind of act serious. So it really works.
We just have to keep moving, find Kevin, and find the exit, alright? Now that we know this thing doesn't come tonight...
I think this is the scene where Brooke does not have a necklace on.
Yeah, she doesn't. There it is. But this was early. This was like...
See, but she would forget it all the time. One day she was scared you would notice because it was like an up-close
Oh,
shot.
there's nothing there.
Yeah, so that is when she got the other necklace.
But nobody notices that, though.
That's true.
Yeah, it could have just went into her shirt.
We've seen the movie so many times that after a while, like, I start to pick up these little tiny things that I remembered while filming that aren't really important in any way, shape, or form.
So this wasn't as hard, but I'm walking backwards and that was still a pain.
And it's also a really small hallway.
Yeah, you see how skinny and narrow that is?
And there would be days that, like, I wouldn't show up to filming or the other Sarah wouldn't show up to filming, so we would have to carry the light and the box, which, like, I'm a small human. That is very hard.
Crazy thing, towards the end, I started to figure it out.
Yeah.
You can, like,
you
double
definitely
fist
start.
it.
Yeah, you start to figure out how to place it and, like, you know. I remember we filmed like a good portion of this and then figured out the lights weren't on.
Yes, yeah. I know when that is.
Man.
But the Neil voice, this was recorded after filming. They're actually responding to nothing, which is always hard for actors, obviously, because they don't know. They have
and
to,
you
like,
have to get like the spacing right and all that.
Yeah.
If that were to happen while we were filming.
Oh no, I'd be leaving.
I love that shot too, where you see like Kevin up there. Here, another running backward shot.
Oh. This one wasn't as hard because they weren't running fast, but still.
Great prosthetic work there.
Yeah, really.
That's not possible. He's mimicking us.
We need to leave now.
Oh my god, Kevin's gone.
That prop, I swear.
So right here, you will never notice this, but I'm gonna say anyway. Oh, never mind. I couldn't. It already passed.
His shirt? Are you talking about Enzo's shirt?
Oh yeah, the shirt thing is another cool thing to talk about. So the same day we filmed this, we filmed the end scene where Enzo's on the ground and gets shot. So he was really dirty on the front of his, he had blood. He had blood all on the front of his shirt. So we didn't want to show that. So we had to flip his shirt around. So if you pay really close attention, the V part of the V-neck is on his back because we flipped the shirt around. And you can also notice that his shirt is dirty from laying on the ground in the very end scene.
Oh, here's the Daisy's back.
The Daisy's back.
I also I want to add about the fake gun that we had. There was so many times in filming that we'd walk about a mile all the way into the cave, get all the equipment down there, and then JJ would look at one of us and go, "The gun's not here," and I'd be like, "No."
This part's so good. So good.
And you know, it was kind of difficult for Brooke because I told her she had to run, but she had a hurt ankle, so I was like, kind of do half and half.
Running.
So like,
because like when adrenaline is pumping through you, you don't limp as much.
Yeah, so she's kind of limping still, but you know, there's a demon coming, so she has to they're running.
Yeah.
So
I remember one time we were filming and she started limping on the wrong side.
Yeah. Or she'd forget.
Dana, stop! I can't do this anymore.
Yes, you can.
No, we're just back where we started. He's just gonna keep chasing us till we're dead.
If we're gonna die, we might as well make it difficult for him. So come on, let's get.
the Twitch, love that.
That is some good special effects. That
Yeah,
definitely.
No, that's just post production. This is editing stuff. Not really special effects. So that scene where they just ran across the bridge, I had to stand like on the outside of the bridge where it has a gaping hole. And I had to stand over the hole because they had to run beside me.
And the bridge is very narrow.
The bridge is narrow, so I was standing over a hole that was probably like 20 feet deep, and it was terrifying.
This spot right here was a scary night of filming.
Mm-hmm.
I remember we were here, and it was always super late at night. We'd be in the cave, and it's a super like eerie feeling because it's super quiet if no one's talking. And so we were all sitting there, and all of a sudden we see this light flash over there, and there was this noise, and we're all like, "Oh no!"
It didn't help that
No.
we were already like
Kind
of spooking each other on purpose.
Yeah.
Just throughout filming. So
Yeah, like there'd been times that Sarah and I'd be walking back from getting the gun, or like one of the batteries or something like that, and JJ would scare us,
You'd be hiding
or
in
Michael
the
would scare
crawlspace.
us. Yeah.
But then when we were filming this, we actually heard footsteps.
Yeah,
during
this
this.
portion right here.
So
yeah.
so this part where you hear footsteps, this actually happened. This wasn't the footsteps we were hearing. This was done in post. But while we were shooting this, we were hearing footsteps very similar to that, and there was nobody there. We would go check, and there was nobody there.
It was because there was
So
a
it's-
manager
it's-
up at top that we thought, oh, maybe she was coming
Yeah.
down to see how it was going, and then all of a sudden she never came, and we were like, oh no.
So here's something that that nobody will know until you listen to this. So in the script, it's kind of hinted that these two have a thing, that they're in a relationship in a way, but it didn't really play off that well when we actually filmed it. But this is one of those times where it kind of shows a little bit,
I think,
and it's kind of nice that, oh, look, here they are, they're,
it's like a little hidden
this
secret.
this scene
they've been through a lot at this point, and now it's just them, and now they're tired.
Accepting it.
And
Yeah.
this
There
scene
it is.
took 10 times as long because the girl in this, her name is Brooke,
Yeah.
laughed every single time because she's an awkward little human. And so every time
But look,
anything would happen.
look at this. So this is like where it really hints at it. So let's see, right here. So he's gonna kind of look around a little bit, like this. There you go. And then he looks down at her, and this little smile. There it is. And then lays his head on there. So nice.
Which, like, also could get them both killed.
I can't even. That whole shot just gets me.
The romance.
All right,
beneath.
And
so
then it zooms in on his
that's
face.
the romance beneath. Now this right here, this is Arkin whistling, and this whistle is kind of an homage to my earlier work. What he's whistling is an actual like song that I wrote for one of my older short videos. It's called Dead Time Stories. So this is the
'Cause
Dead
you-
Time Stories theme. So this is kind of an homage to my old stuff.
So, because you've done, like, a lot of short, like...
Short films.
I did short videos in high school, but I don't consider them like actual like
you
professionally
think this is, like,
done
your
works.
first film.
My first professionally done film. At least
Okay.
try to be professional about it. But yeah, that thing he was whistling was something that was used in my older videos.
Yeah, because I think when you first started talking about it, we really didn't understand what you were trying to do.
Yeah,
Until we started getting down there, we're like, oh, okay, this
Exactly.
is what we're doing.
exactly. Also, the intro at the very beginning where it says Grim Reaper Productions, that also has the theme song to Dead Time Stories in it. It's the same whistle that Arkin does. This was actually, so this scene and then the hill scene was actually done at night. So this is not in the morning. This is right before the sun was going down.
Yeah, every single scene except for the ones where Enzo was walking were all done in the evening because it was either when people got off school or got off work as well.
But I had to make sure I shot this in the right order So for all the earlier scenes, I had to wait till the end of the night to shoot these ones, but the ones that are more lit up, I had to shoot first for that day. So it was kind of like a little out of order there. Yeah, I love the cutting back and forth to this. It's really cool. The dramatic like running, and then he's just chill.
And then the gates, like natural sound when it's being opened. It just makes it all come together.
This is my second favorite scene. This is like it's so good. Both Enzo and Brooke nailed this, especially Brooke.
Right here.
She like really nailed the dramatic thing, like the terrified, like I'm about to die, like
that's all coming together.
She really made it look realistic, and she looks genuinely terrified. Goes the gun.
Yeah, this is like one scene that's even kind of hard to talk through because it's just very dramatic.
See that, like when she first did that, and I said cut, like everybody was like dead silent, like, damn, that was so good, like that. We felt that.
It was so good, but the crazy thing is like right after this, it's like she's powering through the entire thing. As soon as it's over, she's already back and bouncy to her normal self. All those tears in her eyes.
Yeah, as soon as I say cut, she starts to laugh.
Natural.
Or like at first
Right
she didn't know what to do when she
But
shot herself.
although those are not actual tears,
those are
she pulled it off though. Like it looks great.
It looks great, yeah.
Like her acting made it look very real. But yeah, those are just contact lens, a contact solution.
Oh, the saline solution.
So the saline solution, yeah. This was hard in editing. I really wanted to make a dizziness thing, to where he's losing blood and he just got shot. That was really hard to do in editing, but I'm glad I figured it out.
That was a really good part.
So this was shot during the afternoon, so this was not the morning. So I color corrected it to make it look more bluish and more like it was in the morning.
Now this was a day, so they had to all get in this, and you can't see out of when they put the prosthetics on their eyes. Mm-hmm. So me and like a few other of us had to lead them around the hill.
Oh, the tarp that we had on the hill to prevent the blood from getting everywhere.
A lot of them were goofing off, and they were like, take pictures of me, and then they were trying to hit each other with, it was a lot.
There were like 2 or 3 of us having to
like corral
all this makeup and the prosthetics, and then getting them individually up and putting them in
we have it all on video whenever we put all these prosthetics on, so it might make the special features. I'm not sure.
I remember specifically that none of them had learned their lines before they started doing this, so we had to tell them their lines several times because they could not see them.
It looks so good.
It does look good, but it was a lot of work.
So blended. Oh.
Yeah, I remember you guys sitting there for at least 10 minutes.
So this day, a couple other people joined the makeup crew. It was Rachel and Brianna.
For Harlow, and then Brianna.
Which are both guides as well.
So we had a couple of extra people work on this scene just because we had little time and a lot to do. So this right here is not Jesse, who plays Arkin. For one shot, that is somebody else, and it's a girl playing Arkin. Her name is Maddie Brand.
It was originally supposed to be her boyfriend, but he was too big for the costume.
He couldn't fit the suit, so we were like, Maddie, can you put this suit on? Can you put this sweaty, smelly suit on? And she did, and for one shot, she's in the movie as Arkin. See that little blood splatter that I added?
This is one of my favorite things, because the entire time you think Jerry is a terrible, he's not trained with the gun, and all of a sudden he gets a headshot in.
Yeah.
Hey, well,
that was actually one of the days I wasn't there. Every time he was there, I wasn't there. Because I don't remember that.
Yeah, I was there the first day. I don't think I was here because he didn't need anything else. We didn't need lights or anything.
That is so intense.
I know. Enzo's mom, which is this character, talks about this all the time. She's like, it freaks me out that my son's lying on the floor.
Yeah, they say that every time. Well, there we go. That is Denise. Yeah. But we still have a little scene coming up, right?
Oh.
Yeah, there's a little Marvel Avengers bonus credit scene, right? So
You always
we
gotta wait for the post-credit scenes.
So that right there, based on original script by me and Kevin.
Sarah Hill, right there.
There you go. There's the two Sarahs. But it's based off on a script I wrote in high school that never got made, and it was a bunch of different stories, and the last story was about Slenderman in the woods.
Thank you.
So I got some of that I wrote in that and made it a totally new script, and that's why it says based off the original script. My name is like plastered on this whole credit reel.
Like, I remember we got done with filming, and I'm like,
Luke,
it'd be
amazing.
like a month or two before the movie comes out.
It was
and
hard.
then it was like months later.
It took a long time to edit this thing. It was a lot of work.
Everyone did an amazing job.
Yeah, I'm very proud of everybody that was a part of this movie. Everybody did an amazing job. Even Michael.
Michael
was hard to work with,
Michael,
but
serving the country.
punching dummy of the group.
he is now in the Air Force. He is in Okinawa, Japan, serving the
Couldn't
country.
afford Tom Cruise, so we got Michael.
Yeah. But yeah, here is the bonus credit scene with Tony Bowerman. So
One take wonder up in here.
yeah, so this was done on a random day. This was the very last thing I ever shot for the movie. Was right here. And this was months after we had finished the main part of filming.
He's so adorable. The way he's locked at him.
Tony's my hero.
So this was just in the morning when he was working. I was like, hey, Tony, you want to go film that scene real quick? He's like, oh, sure.
Look at the look in his eyes. Hold on. Just look at the look in his eyes right now. Look how intense and perfect.
Yeah. Boom.
Oh, yes!
So it's
Goosebumps
so
all over my
good.
whole body.
So yes, it had to do with the managers had a lot to do with this. The managers are part of this cult that's going on. So there is another movie in the works as of now, and I hope that I can kind of incorporate the manager aspect into it, and maybe we can bring Tony back for some scenes. But yeah, let's wrap this up. Let's finish this before the credits end here.
Yep.
So thank you all so much for
Thanks
listening to this. Thank you for buying the Blu-ray, because that's what gets these guys paid. Nobody's got paid yet. So hopefully, if we sell these Blu-rays, we can get these people paid. So thank you for buying it. Thank you for listening to this. Right now, as of now, this movie is in 16 festivals across 11 states, and that is amazing. And there's probably more that are coming. So hopefully by the time this Blu-ray is released, we're in many more than that. And yeah, you guys have anything to say before?
Visit our social media sites. It's beneath.
And come see the cave,
Yeah, come by and see where this
I'll
film
be
was shot.
there.
It was filmed in Georgetown, Texas at Inner Space Cavern. It is the same name from the movie. So come by and take the hidden passage tour, and you will see all the filming locations.
And of course, come ask us about the movie, because we'll just blab on about it for
well,
the entire tour.
Some of us from this movie will probably be there. But we'll see you guys later. Thank you so much for listening.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.
Toodles.
Adios.